Safer at Home. That's the modified version of the current advisory for Massachusetts residents, which Governor Charlie Baker has said starts Monday. Even though several different types of businesses can reopen under new health and safety guidelines, it will be a very different Memorial Day than most people are used to. The four-phased plan has been met with mixed reactions, and tonight we bring you reactions from two business leaders from our region.
Immediate reactions, it's good to have something out there. It's good to see some return to activity with manufacturing, construction, a few other small businesses following that next week. But certainly some big unknowns between phase 2 and phase 3. As it pertains to the Berkshires, some of those unknown areas are pretty central pieces of our economy and what we expect in the summer. So, we're going to be working hard to better understand that, advocate some of what's going on out here to the Baker administration and hope to get a little bit more clarity in the very short term.
Rick, same question for you.
Yeah, I think it's great to have some things starting to open up. I do think, as we were talking just before we started here, I think there is some frustration with some of the smaller business, particularly the restaurants, in terms of, I think they were expecting more in terms of reopenings in this first phase. I personally think the governor had been pretty clear in terms of forecasting that there was not going to be wholesale changes here in this phase 1. It was going to be go slow, be safe. But I do think some of the smaller businesses, particularly the restaurants and the Main Street businesses, are really looking for some solid guidance in terms of, okay, when are things going to open and what are going to be the guidelines? They need to be able to start planning on what it's going to look like because, particularly for the smaller companies and the restaurants in particular, business moving forward is going to look very different than it did before COVID.
Yeah, and the governor, in announcing his plan yesterday, really referred different industry sectors to the website for pieces of that guidance that you both just mentioned. And he was very clear that he feels like this is going to be industry by industry specific. This is not going to be a one-size-fits-all set of safety guidelines and parameters for various industries. For instance, here at our office, it's going to be very different in terms of how we reopen or continue to invite colleagues back into the office versus how it's going to be in a restaurant and how things are going to be spaced out. And I think, I have relatives in Florida, and it was a very different approach to reopening there based on what I've seen in the news and speaking with them. And quite frankly, some people have said, who I know who live there, that it's been scary to watch, where for half a day it was measured and sort of adults being responsible. And by the end of the day, in some areas, it was pretty chaotic. Probably no surprise, we saw a reaction all over the place yesterday to this plan. I want to read this tweet from the Mass Republican Party Chairman Jim Lyons. He said that Governor Baker and Lieutenant Polito just put in place the most restrictive business requirements in history. These regulations potentially will crush our economy. As I watch this press conference, I feel so sad for the small, struggling businesses in our state. Thoughts on Mr. Lyons' take, Jonathan?
Yeah, that certainly is it's a hard take, but there's some thoughts in there that merit consideration. I think that right now, that initial first week, first 2 weeks, even as we look through phase 1, you can interpret that as being very restrictive. And obviously there's certain industries that were kept out almost completely. I think what's critical, though, in building off of sort of this initial announcement and in this initial phase 1 guidance is creating a runway as quickly as possible for the businesses that can open in phase 2 and the businesses that can open in phase 3. Restaurants need probably at minimum 1 to 2 weeks, and in many instances, maybe 3 or 4 weeks of a runway to bring back their staff, retrain in proper social distancing and safety guidelines and measures, ordering inventory. And in some cases, companies like Sysco that are our food suppliers, they need a runway to know when they can start, ordering inventory that they'll then distribute to local businesses. It's similar as we talk about accommodations into phase 2 and phase 3, where the longer the runway we can give them, the better they'll be able to open and the more safely and effectively they'll be able to reopen. And the other thing that I would add to that is I do think it's good that we have the Baker administration's approach that they're looking at it sector by sector. You have to dig in. It can't be one size fits all. You have to look at the nuances of each sector. But I would suggest that we also have to look at almost business by business and create a protocol that, within sectors, you have to start with something. And in the phase 1 plan, they started with something. They kind of put everybody into a box. But within those boxes, not all those pieces are alike. There's if you look at the Berkshires, we have very small properties that, it's understandable where there's going to be complications with them inviting guests in to, to view their exhibits and their spaces, whether it's a historical property or a cultural site. We have others with big, giant, large campuses and, tremendous amounts of square footage on their property that can do some very creative things to create safe environments. So I do think there has to be measures, not just sector by sector, but even business by business, where we can make some sensible decisions to get some things operating.
So, Rick, on the other side of the aisle, we heard criticism from a lot of progressives, including State Representative Lindsay Sabadoza, who was critical of the governor, saying, look, this shouldn't have been business leaders, even though there were some medical professionals on the reopening committee, but this shouldn't be from the business community. These determinations should be made by epidemiologists and people who have their hands wrapped around public health data. Do you think that that's her approach, her criticism of the governor is fair?
Well, first off, I don't really think there's really a place for politics in these decisions to begin with. So I do think in Massachusetts, we've been generally pretty fortunate that I think everybody has gotten behind the public health professionals. And Dr. Mark Kerouac, CEO at Bay State, is on that reopening committee. I've got a lot of faith in Mark and the work that they do at Bay State. So he was on that reopening committee, and I think that was a good voice. And I know he certainly has been one coming strictly from a public health point of view. So a lot of faith there. That being said, I do think that the reopening needs to make some common sense as well. So it is very hard to discuss with a local business why it's okay for there to be, 200 or 300 people at the Home Depot, but you can't have 2 in your small Main Street, business. And so I do think that there's a place for common sense and balancing the clear public health issues that are out there, and those certainly need to drive the conversation and be, what decides what the policies are going to be. But I also think that there needs to be some common sense as well.